Hiya gamers, Wutai here. The cinematic RPG. These words first greeted me in 1998 when I was 7 years old, staring at the back of the game case for a game called Parasite Eve. What followed was an experience that once again redefined gaming for me. Much like with Phantasy Star 3 for the Genesis, which was my introduction to JRPGs, and Final Fantasy VII before it, this game was something so unique that it has occupied space in my heart and mind for decades. I remember one day my stepdad being like, from the living room calling out to me, hey buddy, you know that game you like to play, that Paradise Eve game? There's a movie of it right now on the TV. And that was how I found out about the prequel to the game's events that are briefly discussed within the game itself, had their own foothold in media as well. I soon learned about Hideaki Senna's novel that spawned it all while doing some research, but it wasn't until this year, 2026, that I finally begun reading the novel. I purchased the digital version on Barnes & Noble for $9.99, a steal to be honest, considering physical editions of this book are outrageous these days. The novel, to no surprise, is much more in-depth than the movie, which, it's a common case, but the movie's also really cool. I enjoyed the movie. I remember watching it back when I was younger, after my stepdad told me about the Paradise Eve movie. And it's much like the game in the sense that it's such a unique and fascinating piece of fiction. There's something just so jarring about this form of body horror, after all. Senna is a med school graduate and pharmacologist, and the book is very jargon heavy, but to me that adds to its appeal. This is, after all, the ultimate study in body horror. Body horror has always fascinated me because of just how, close it is. It's your body. It's everything you are. And if it's used against you, what can you even do? Parasite Eve was a brand new and unique spin on body horror at the time. What would you do if your mitochondria became sentient? I mean, that's absolutely just a terrifying thought. And that is, in essence, what Eve is. Eve is sentient. Eve is aware. And Eve wants to break free. Eve's goal and ambition in both the prequel book and the film, as well as in the 1998 PlayStation 1 survival horror RPG hybrid, are the same: to give birth to the ultimate being. Hideaki Senna's Parasite Eve begins with a scientist named Toshiaki, his wife Kiyomi, passing away in a car accident. In the book, it's already made more apparent to us that his wife's death was no mere accident, no mere sleeping spell at the wheel, but rather that the mitochondria in Kiyomi's body had become sentient and caused her to have this accident that ultimately leaves her brain dead. Toshiaki, in a desperate attempt to keep his wife alive, decides to harvest her liver cells, which come into play later on as they ultimately evolve into Mitochondria Eve. Kiyomi's kidneys are donated, and one of them ends up in the body of a young girl named Mariko, who Eve later inseminates with the ultimate being. Parasite Eve, the video game, as we mentioned earlier, is a survival horror game with RPG elements. It is like part Resident Evil and part Final Fantasy, the latter of which is most likely because earlier on it was a prototype for Final Fantasy VII, believe it or not. And you can see it in various elements, like the character design and maybe even the names of said characters. Aya does resemble Cloud. Then you have Daniel Dallas, who is a single father, much like Barrett Wallace. His names even sound similar. They're both single dads with similar names. That's what I mean. Okay, and similar designs too. Shut up.
No race thing. No race thing. Asshole. No.
You play as Aya Brea, a police detective with the NYPD. Aya lost her sister Maya at an early age in a car accident, which also involved Aya's mother. It's also worth mentioning that Aya's mother was named Mariko, which is also the name of the young girl in the book and the film who gave birth to the ultimate being originally. This could either be the same person or just the same namesake used as sort of a nod to the source material. Mariko and Maya both passed away in this accident, but Aya survived. One of Maya's kidneys was transplanted into a girl named Melissa, who was suffering from kidney failure at the time. Aya also got Maya's cornea implanted into her own eye to correct a vision problem when she was 7 years old. So yeah, they kind of just held on to her cornea and was like, yeah, we might need this later on, and gave it to Aya when she was older. So yeah, that's a thing that happened. This, of course, does set the stage for the events later on when the game begins. Maya's mitochondria, which are now inside of the young Melissa Pierce, began to become sentient, with the help of Melissa always overdosing on immunosuppressants. She took these because she felt that she was getting extremely ill, and possibly that was due to her kidney that was now being rejected by her body. Melissa was so desperate at the time to land the lead role in the opera, so she just kept pounding away heavily on these drugs. For what? Why is she taking so much? She must have a drug problem. I love Aya for that. Eve seems to fully awaken when her eyes meet Aya's in the crowd during that fateful night at the opera in New York City's Carnegie Hall. What follows is a chase through Manhattan by Brea, who is not only trying to stop the evil menace that is wreaking havoc on many human beings here in New York City, but to find answers to how she and Eve are connected. Aya is the only one who is immune to Eve's powers, and of course it's because she has a part of Maya in her as well, which she doesn't find out about until the end of the game, that being her cornea. Having the same mitochondria as Eve renders Aya impervious to any of Eve's abilities, like being set on fire. Aya is able to put a stop to Eve with help from her friends and destroy the ultimate being before it can hurt any more people in the end. The lasting impact of this game is still felt today, and many fans are always clamoring for a remake or a new game in the series, one that captures the same energy as the original Parasite Eve 1. The music in this game is, of course, composed by the incredible Yoko Shimomura, who was just masterful in every way. She's able to make every environment in this game stand out and really capture the actual intensity and the gloom and every emotion possible throughout this game, especially, of course, the fear and the intrepidation throughout the game. This music is just absolutely incredible. There's even a song called Wheel of Fortune, which plays when you're in the museum, and that song is just, the way it goes, just the way that it picks up, and it's like ba-da-da-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da-da, it's just, it's that fear, and it's so good, it's perfect. The music's amazing. Yoko Shimomura was later heard in games like Kingdom Hearts. She did some melodies for them, and of course Final Fantasy 15, all of which she did fantastic job at. Just an incredible composer. Shouts out Yoko Shimomura. She truly made every twist and turn in this game really come to life, much like your mitochondria might come to life one day to take over the nucleus. Even after Eve is defeated in the game, and when she fails to fully evolve in the book and film, the threat is still very real. If cells can become sentient not once but twice, what's stopping them from doing it again? And perhaps it'll be your mitochondria next time. That is the lasting impact of this type of horror. Parasite Eve is one of a kind, and it is my favorite video game ever created. As I continue to read the novel and replay the game for who knows how many times it's been now, I can say that everything about this game and its story truly holds up today, 3 decades later. And whatever the future may hold, it has truly cemented its place in history in many different mediums as a truly wonderful work of art. Now, I know what you guys might be thinking. Hey, there were sequels to the game, right? Yes, Parasite Eve 2 for the PlayStation 1, which was a very good game in its own right, but it's nowhere near as perfect as the first game was. And then Parasite Eve 3, which further muddled things, or they call it the third birthday for the PSP, further muddled things and seemed like it was written by completely different people who had no respect for the source material or for the previous games in the series. So, this video is not about those games, but you should maybe check them out. You might like them. Especially the second one, I recommend it. You can get the gunblade in that game. The requirements for doing so are kind of tricky, of course. It's a challenge run type thing. But Parasite Eve 1, obviously, is the game that spawned it all, and the book, obviously, that came before it is actually what really spawned everything. But yeah, Parasite Eve, the book, the novel by Hideaki Sena, and the movie as well, and the first game, just 3 pieces of media that are just perfect when it comes to horror. And in that genre, I would recommend those or put those up against anything else. And as I write my own novel currently, reading something like very jargon heavy like Parasite Eve by Hideaki Senna is like very interesting to me. And also just, I have a certain idea in my book that might be like kind of ridiculous, but then I look at, the mitochondria coming to life and all that stuff, and I'm like, see, crazier stories have been told, and by God, they've worked. So that's really lent a lot to my storytelling as well, and my own writing, which I'm excited to continue doing. And of course, I want to thank my Wu-Tai Clan gaming community for tuning into this video, putting up with me. I'm a very unique type of person, I feel like, when it comes to my scripting and things like that. If I make a mistake while I'm reading the script out, sometimes I'll just leave it in there because, hey, sometimes I like to just go off the cuff and try to be as natural as possible. And I feel like that resonates with some people. It might not resonate with other people, but, this is my channel. This is the Wu-Tai Clan. This is what we're about. And this is also what our podcast, mine and my friend Rebecca's podcast, is about. It's just off the cuff. It's not scripted. It's raw. And I feel like that resonates with a lot of people. And something that resonates with a lot of people, Parasite Eve, resonated with me and made me want to make this video about it. So, yeah, 30 years of Parasite Eve. My God, I feel old. Technically over 30 years. The book came out in 95, so yeah, 31 years. And before we know it, we'll be celebrating 30 years of the actual game that came out in 98. So 2 more years from now, we'll be at 2028. We'll be at 30 years of the Parasite Eve game for PlayStation 1, which is absolutely insane. But I'd like to thank you guys for tuning in and helping my community continue to grow. And I hope that I see you guys again in the next one. Please click the subscribe button down below. Give me a like. Share me with your friends. Maybe they'll think I'm weird, or maybe I'll resonate with them. I'm using that word a lot today. I'm gonna make it lose meaning. So yeah, shouts out Yoko Shimomura for the amazing soundtrack. Hideaki Senna for writing the book. Shouts out Misa Amane too. She's cool as hell. All right, but as always, this has been Wu-Tai Clan Gaming, and I'll see you in the next one. See you.